do whatever you can to take control over this part of your life, because this is indicative to your happiness. This is basically going to determine whether or not you lead a happy or a depressed life.
For the rugged. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all.
Yo, what's going on? It is Miguel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about detaching yourself from your thinking mind and then taking conscious control over that part of your mind. So a friend of mine, who I've actually known for a while, messaged me about a video I had on meditation, where I talk about how one of the benefits that you get from meditating, and one of the ways you want to think about meditating, is that you don't want to identify with your thoughts, because 9 times out of 10 the thoughts that we have running around inside of our brain aren't actually ours. They're just different programs running in our mind that we've just been repeating over and over and over again. Different people talking to us, different songs that we're listening to, TV shows that we're watching. It's a multitude of things that is just playing around inside of our head. And then when we have these thoughts, we automatically assume that they're ours. I mean, they're coming from your head, right? But in reality, these thoughts actually aren't yours, which is why the first thing I say is to completely detach yourself from your thoughts. And the reason for this is because you literally are not your thoughts. You are the person who is aware that you are thinking. You are the awareness behind everything. This is basically where consciousness comes into play, spirituality comes into play, where you are consciousness. You are not your brain. You are not your physical body. You are the spirit, the life force that brought your body alive. And because of that, that means your brain is not yours either. It's just the computer that is used by this life force in order to get this thing moving. So on a conscious level, you're able to bring that into awareness. But what people don't realize is that as thoughts come into their head, they immediately identify with them. Sorry, I'm close my computer because it's distracting me. Anyways, as thoughts come up, what majority of people do is they immediately identify with those thoughts, not realizing that those thoughts are pre-programmed from years and years and years of living. So thoughts will randomly come up because your subconscious brain is running 100% of the time. So your subconscious brain is essentially telling your conscious brain everything it is that it believes, and it's just sending you different thought patterns, belief patterns, and actions that it feels like you should be taking. So a thought will come up, and for example, a thought will come up that says, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I'm X, whatever that thought is. And what most people do is they identify with it. They go, oh, okay, this thought is me. If this thought came from my brain, that must mean that thought is me. But in reality, this is not the case. If that were the case, then you would not be able to step back and go, whoa, I'm having thoughts right now. You would not be able to step back and look at yourself and your thoughts from a bird's eye view. I understand that I'm speaking in a very meta sort of way right now, but I'm hoping that you're following me. I'm hoping that this is making sense. You are capable of stepping back from your thoughts, from your life, from everything, and conceptualize, think about the things that are going on inside of your brain. You are able to look at your thoughts and go, why am I thinking that? The person, the part of you that is capable of doing that is your true self. The thoughts that come up themselves at random are not your true self. You might as well call this like the animalistic reptilian part of you that is just part of being human. It is not possible to completely get rid of emotions. To not have emotions is to literally be dead. And I'm asking you to literally die for like 0.2 seconds, where it's not that you do not have emotions, is that you stop identifying and considering them so relevant, because in actuality, they do not actually have to be relevant. every single emotion is literally, I mean, in terms of negative emotions, it's literally you either being anxious about something going on in the present, which leads to depression, sadness, anger, stuff like that, or you being resentful of the past, or you being resistant to what's going on in the present. I meant to say past earlier, but you being resentful of something happening in the past, you being resistant to something going on in the present, or you being fearful of something that could potentially happen in the future. So every single thought form that you have inside of your brain does not actually exist in that exact moment. They are things going on in your brain. And because of that, because you are placing weird importance inside of things going on in your brain, you are projecting that onto the world in front of you. These things do not actually exist, but when you think about them and when you place importance on them and when you start placing emotion on them, then they become real and they start to manifest themselves as real inside of your world. Even if things can actually turn out to be good, you will see the bad in them because you are identifying with these random thoughts going on inside of your brain. That is the biggest reason why you want to stop identifying with the random thoughts that come inside of your brain. One, because they're not yours, and two, because if you do this, then you run the risk of actualizing these things into your life, manifesting these things. So the way to get past this and to stop identifying with your thoughts in this form is to literally die, in a sense. Not actually die, but you need that part of you to die where you're identifying with every thought that comes into your brain. I like to think of our brains as a child. This is like your brain is your first baby. And every now and then, a baby throws a tantrum about something. You do not take a baby's tantrum seriously. You do not coddle the baby. Otherwise, when the baby grows up, it is going to throw tantrums about everything because that is what's been programmed into this baby to get attention. There is a reason why children grow up to be whiny little brats. It's because when they were babies, they would cry and then the adults would pay more attention to them. My camera might die, so I might end up having to stop this for a second. Yeah, I'm just going to stop it. All right, we're back. So I'm not sure where my train of thought was in that moment, but what came up inside of my mind in that exact moment was when my camera died, the thought that was about to come up was, this is kind of frustrating because I had a nice train of thought going there. And then right when I was about to say, because I think out loud a lot, so right as I was about to say, well, that's, and I was going to say annoying, but then I stopped and I said, well, that's beautiful. Life is beautiful. So that's a perfect transition into the next part of what this video is about, which is taking conscious control over your thoughts. Yes, your subconscious mind is constantly running and it's going to try and constantly like bubble up and come up with something that is going to bring you back to all the programmed thoughts that have been put in your brain throughout the however many years you've been living up to this point. But the beauty about having a conscious brain, the beauty about the fact that we have free will, is that you are able to take control of your thoughts and point to them in the direction that you want. 9 times out of 10, majority of us want to feel happy and blissful and grateful majority of the time. The only way you can do that is by taking conscious control of your thoughts and your perception. Your perception is literally just the thoughts that you have inside of your mind. The world in front of you at any given moment are the thoughts that are going on inside of your head. At any point you have a negative emotion bubbling up inside of you, that means you are thinking incorrectly in that moment. You have placed some sort of negativity on the situation that doesn't actually need to be there. You can switch that up in that exact moment at any given time and say, this is beautiful. This is exactly how things should be happening. I am even closer to my goals. This is just another reason to be happy. Majority of people in the situation where, I mean, that was a very small thing in terms of my camera dying, but like anything, stubbing your toe, ending up in traffic, getting in a car accident, a family member dying. A multitude of things can happen, and at any given moment, you literally have two choices. You can choose to think sad thoughts that put you into a sad mood and manifest a negative reality into your mind, or you can choose to be positive and think positive thoughts and manifest a positive reality into your life. You have these options at any given moment, and you are able to take conscious control over your thoughts. So step one is to not identify with the thoughts going on inside of your brain, because they are not actually yours and it's not actually you. And the reason you know it's not you is because you were able to step away from your thoughts and examine them as if they're not even yours, because they're not. That person is not you. There are two yous going on inside of you. There's what people call the egoic self and the higher self. I'm telling you to identify with your higher self and not demolish the egoic self, because this can get you far as well. This is where desire comes from. This is what is going to like push you to do things a lot of the time. But if you identify with this, then this is where you end up being in a scarcity-based mindset. This is where fear and sadness and anger and scarcity comes from. The higher self is nothing but love and gratitude and bliss. Start to identify with this, and you do that by taking conscious control over your mind. Whenever sad emotions come up, taking conscious control over that, and even if you don't actually feel the blissful, happy feeling going on inside of you in that exact moment, fake it. Fake it. Just tell yourself you're happy. Tell yourself, say out loud a reason to be positive for anything negative going on in that exact moment at all times. Do whatever you can to take control over this part of your life, because this is indicative to your happiness. This is basically going to determine whether or not you lead a happy or a depressed life. This is going to determine everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got value out of it, definitely hit the subscribe button below. Like this video, comment your thoughts below as well. And until next time, peace.